Welcome. You are listening to the Me, She, and Her podcast, a guided conversation between three friends where we discuss business, leadership, relationship, and fitness based off song lyrics. We use our experiences, testimonies, and throw in a few jokes to bring you an entertaining view of lyrics from popular songs, old and new. Come listen in on the fun. Good day. Welcome to the Me, She, and Her podcast, a guided conversation between three friends. I am Monique.
I am Summer. Ashley here.
And today's episode is about Naked by Ella Mai.
I think that's how you say it.
Is that how you say it?
Close enough, yeah. Sorry.
And the key verse is, can you love me naked? The question is, who are you most vulnerable with and why? Let's chat, ladies.
Well, it's a great question. It's a
very let's break down vulnerability.
Yeah, that's the start there.
Yeah. For our vulnerability. So, to me, the definition of vulnerability is able to be your complete self in all fullness of you.
Okay.
And what that means is my little quirks, my sometimes my maybe attitude, just how my personality operates, how I think, how I react to certain stuff, that I can trust you, the information and the secrets that I may have, that I can trust you with that things and it not be used against me later on. So that's that vulnerability with someone.
I think the goal is to be most vulnerable with the person you end up spending your life with, like your husband or wife, whatever. That's where that that you would get to that point, obviously, as you're dating or courting, whatever. But I think that's ultimately where you want to be with. And then if we want to talk about friends, you have those 2, 3, 4, I don't know what the number is, close friends who you feel like you could be your authentic self with. Like, I know I can be my authentic self with these two because they're not going to judge me. They will laugh at me, but I know it's love. It's a love laugh. It's an LL love laugh. So I'm going to laugh too.
Right.
But I don't feel attacked by it. I don't feel like if there was a time when we got upset, we would never use any things we shared.
Right.
And at those times, we were super vulnerable with each other, against each other. Like, because for what? There's no purpose. And two, that's just the level of friendship that we are at. So I think you could be vulnerable, obviously, with your significant other, and in friendships. Yeah, and I think there's levels to vulnerability. There's levels to everything. Everything. So, because let's use, for example, your parents. Growing up, you may not have been very vulnerable or open to them about what's going on in your life, what you're going through, all that. But now that you're older, you share more of who you are, what you do, like what you're going through. You share more of your life story and what you're in. They be like, I didn't know you, because now you don't look at them as. I think growing up with your parents, you're vulnerable to the point where I can share my feelings, but not necessarily what I have done, because I don't want to disappoint you about what I have done. Right. But now that you're older, you understand what that all was to help you grow and develop, and that even they have some things that they went through, that they have done, they can now share with you, because they're older, you're older, to be able to receive it without judging them, or using that information to downplay the voice that they have in your life, the impact that they have in your life. So I think that's a level of vulnerability.
Well, I mean, that's case in point. All three of us had experience in the last couple months where we talked to our moms, and we're like, I ain't never heard that story before.
Never.
You did what?
Wait, what happened?
With who?
What?
They said what, and you did what?
What happened? You ain't never told me this.
How you kept that long?
Right.
Wait, I've been right here 40 years.
And then your friends ain't snitch either.
Yeah.
Okay, mama.
Oh.
Your siblings ain't snitch.
Everybody said nothing.
Okay.
said nothing.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yes, that's true.
We really haven't had that
That's
experience.
happened.
We all look at him, get the face like, wait, what happened? Say it again.
You did what? You was what? Oh Lord, no. Well, that's where I get it from.
Exactly.
Right,
I throw it back on them. I just
Yeah.
tell them all the time, why you do that? Well, remember, I'm you. So be mad at yourself. Because I'm you.
Right.
Oh, that's
So
too
being
funny.
vulnerable, and like you said, you do want to, get with a spouse that you can be vulnerable with, that you can share, because your lives are intertwined.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to be able to share what you're going through or what you have been through, either to create a deeper connection or to help y'all map out how y'all gonna live life.
Right.
And you will hope that information is not used against you, because I've been in relationships where it was used against me.
Yeah.
Like I'm being open and vulnerable with you, and then we get in an argument, and that's the first thing you bring up.
Right.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
a deal breaker.
Right, and I'm like, okay, peace out.
But so I mean, obviously we've talked about being engaged. So I think the vulnerability has changed. Like I said, we have been friends a long time. There's things that we share with each other and all that. But as time has grown over the past 2-3 years that we've been, actually been together, like it has evolved over time. So like I've seen him cry. I've seen he's seen me cry. We have shared.
Which that don't happen.
No,
This one don't cry.
No, I don't. Yeah, no.
At all. For nothing.
Nothing.
But the last couple once, it's been a regular thing, but he's seen that most people.
You're
haven't.
opening
We having a revelation on the show.
Oh, you are opening up
She's being
to your
vulnerable.
emotions.
Vulnerable.
Only because
Woo.
I had to. But over time, like I said, it's grown. Like, so, like if something has happened or whatever, I know when to approach him, when not to approach him about certain things. I know that, all right, maybe now is not the right time to talk about it, but there's another time to talk about it. That pillow talk is a whole nother thing. Like it takes it to a whole nother level. We have those conversations later at night or whatever, where we can share our feelings about what has happened, even if it's something that we said or did to each other. Now it's like, let's talk about that.
Right.
Having those crucial conversations
Come on.
are important. And so as time has
Crucial
grown,
conversation. Bring it up.
She dropped the
Bring
name.
it up. That's a book. Read it.
Read
the
the book.
for every relationship.
Yes.
Friendships, parents, everything.
Everything.
Work,
Everything.
all of that. It's important to have
Amazing.
those
That's a great
conversations.
book.
Yes,
And it
great
also
book.
helps you to understand like how you're responding to things
Yeah.
and how not to respond
Yeah.
to things in the wrong manner. So having that, as time has gone on, opening up and us sharing things and how we felt about certain things. Like we had an argument about some doors. Yes, it's some doors. I know it seems simple, but it was more than just that.
Right.
And I had to, once the things had calmed down and we talked about it later, I had to share with him, it's not just about the doors themselves. It was about us, how the process of us making a decision had happened.
Right.
That's what I was more, upset about and annoyed about. It was that part of it that
The root.
that was the root cause. So,
Right.
but we could have left the surface level and it just been about, I don't like those doors, you don't like these doors, and this is what this is.
Yeah.
No, it was more than that.
Right.
Like we had to have, a deeper conversation about what led up to that. And yeah, I probably overreacted to a certain degree. And yeah, he probably was like, whatever. But once we had that conversation, it was a different level of understanding about it. So, like I said, over time that has happened, and I think it's only going to happen even more and more as we progress in our relationship. Right? And like you said, friends is like, there's certain people I open up to, and there's some people I don't. There's certain people I tell situations about, and there's some people I don't.
Facts.
There's a ton of situations that I ain't told nobody about, maybe 1 or 2 people. But that's because I could trust those 1 or 2 people with what's going on.
Right.
Like, I don't tell all my friends about everything that's happened. I don't share everything that's happened in my relationship with everybody.
Right.
Cause like, you can't.
You can't.
No.
Right.
You really
Because
can't.
then they be looking at the other person looking crazy, like, oh, how you treat her?
And
That's
they
how you
say
doing it.
something about it.
Yeah.
They're around.
Right.
And people just have no tact about them.
Right.
Like, sorry, that's another point.
Yeah.
It just made
And
me
you
think
can't,
about
and they can't separate
the two.
that
Right.
I'm venting
right,
to you
right,
versus something actually really going on. Like, so they take it in the bad way. So you have to be careful what you share and what to share and what not to share. And like I said, the three of us share things at a whole different level than we share with some other people that we know.
Absolutely.
Like, so you have to just be careful.
And be careful. Be careful. The levels of vulnerability. I mean, she said that earlier. I'm like, yeah, you start with the little things you feel like you can share to see how that person will handle it or how it goes or whatever, or to see if you'll be judged if it's a friend situation or whatever. And then as the relationship matures, I think the vulnerability
as it's tried and tested.
Yeah, like trust.
Yeah, the trust is the basis of that. Trust is the basis of vulnerability. If I can't trust you, I'm not gonna be vulnerable with you.
Right.
If I can't have faith that you weren't gonna share or look at me some kind of way or whatever, I'm not gonna be vulnerable with you. And there are very limited people I'll be vulnerable with.
Right. The list is very small.
Yeah.
Right.
With all of us, really.
One hand.
Ooh.
Like, for real. Like, it just don't. I just.
And I think that's in the song when she "Can You Love Me Naked?" It's basically if I strip all of the exterior things and I get down to the core of me and who I am and how I think and what I hold precious, can the who I am and what's my prized possession, can I give it to you and it be safe?
Right.
I think that's the key, is safety.
Yeah.
Vulnerability, yes, it's a part of it, trust, and then the other part of it is safety.
Safe space.
Feeling safe with that person to know that your dreams, because it's sharing dreams too, not just secrets, but your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, all that is safe with that person that you're sharing it with. And that is another level. And that's why I'm saying that, I think previous said that, soulmates can't, it may not be your husband, may be your friend, because those things you kind of share with someone on a deeper level. And so because you feel safe with them.
Right.
And you feel, and so now you can expose, basically you're exposing yourself to who you are and how you think. Because, sometimes you listen to people talking, you be like, you think crazy. Like, or you done did some stuff. Like, wait a minute.
You done did it now.
Wait a minute. Don't tell me no more. I don't want to hear no more. Ooh.
Actually, I don't want to hear nothing. I want to hear accomplishment.
All right. I don't want to hear no more.
You got in trouble. Don't nobody call me. I don't know.
But I understand that for men, it's harder for them to be vulnerable because they hurt different. Yeah. So it'll take but one person to harm them or to hurt their feelings, and then they shut down completely. They done. Yeah. Right, for the rest of their life. Yeah. I'm like, so this little girl said something to you in the 7th grade? And you still from the 7th grade? So Lord said that they bounce back.
Right. They take a little bit.
Because women, we bounce back. Some faster than others, but we eventually bounce back. I guess maybe because we get played more than in it, but that's another subject. So when we bounce back, it's harder for them to bounce back. So it's hard for them to be vulnerable because you still have some husbands that are not vulnerable with their wives,
and that's partly because society has taught men to not show emotion,
right?
To not be emotional, to not share their feelings. And I was just thinking about it the other day, like, how wrong is that? Because then you tell them that all the way up, and then they get in a relationship, and they 20s and 30s. Why don't you just show me your emotions?
Right.
Tell me how you feel. Like, he's been told for 20 years.
Right, as a little boy, don't cry. Little boys don't cry. Boys, men don't cry. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. You
get hurt.
Let them tears flow.
It's a cleansing.
Just like we do.
Right, it's a cleansing. And matter of fact, I believe they're more emotional.
They are.
Than we are, because and because I'm raising an awesome little boy, but he talks about his feelings a lot. And if I was to shut that down, then that would stunt his growth,
right?
Emotional growth, because we women, we at this age now where we want a man who's emotionally mature. Well, how did he get there?
Right.
And if he's not, and Yana Van Zandt said this. We the best. She said, a mother makes makes a man what he is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then in one episode she was saying you broke him.
Mm-hmm.
So he can't have this type of relationship with his wife because of what his mama did. He can't have this relationship with his daughter because of what his mama did. Like you broke you. So to me, in raising my son, if he want to express his emotion, he want to talk about. Hey, let's talk about it. But what we gonna do is we not gonna dwell. We gonna find a solution.
Right.
And we gonna map out a way for it not to happen again, and we're gonna work around it.
Right.
So yeah, your feelings hurt now. Okay, then what we gonna do next? Right. Let's be in the moment. Let's feel it,
right.
But let's push through because we're not gonna hang out in the pity party.
No.
Right. And so I think men are a lot more emotional,
and they may not even know it because they've been so
programmed,
right, not to be. But they are because I mean they start when they do start sharing and talking. You be like, oh, that's a lot to unpack there. Like I'm not qualified to unpack all that stuff, and that's why like I said, we always say we believe in therapy.
Yes,
therapy and Jesus.
Yes,
so all of it works so that you can be vulnerable. Right?
Yes,
but even with that, like at first when I started the therapy a couple months ago, I had to like share some, see how the person responded. And the first lady I talked to wasn't a right fit.
Yeah.
So I had to go through it. I had to find another one, and then we built some trust over time. And then I started to share more and more and more. So it may take some time to find the right
therapist.
Yeah,
yes.
Like, and don't be scared just for the first time. The first person didn't work out, and your feelings are better. That's not how it's a progression over time. You didn't become who you are in a matter of 2 days.
Right. So they can't fix it.
They can't unpack 40 years of your life in 2 days.
Right.
Like, and most of it happened in your childhood.
Right.
Most of it's childhood trauma.
And you suppressed it, so now you got to go try to remove those layers back and dig it back up.
Right.
And the other thing about vulnerability is and the part that's usually scary is it's risk.
Yeah.
Like it's a risk for me to share this information. So
always a risk.
It's always like a risky thing where you want, should I not, whatever. And some people aren't risk averse. They don't like sharing that, being risky or whatever. And then some people they just tell you your whole life story.
Oh no, you be
overly vulnerable.
You be standing in the grocery line and this person told you everything. My baby mama done slept with my brother. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't know
got a lot going on.
I just said, how's your day?
Right.
Not that good.
I didn't ask you about all this. It says I didn't ask you about all this. All this, your son is your uncle. I didn't ask you about all this.
I didn't ask you about that.
Yeah, we had a girl who worked as a staff person. She was just an oversharer, and I was like, you gotta be careful what you're sharing.
You gotta put a cap on.
I'm like, especially in work environments too, because people they don't have your best interest at heart at all the time. They can use the situations you're going through against you. So it takes, my boss still says to this day, oh, I know I've worked with you the longest and I don't, because there's only certain things I can share with you. Mm-hmm. We've only built, this is how much trust we've built. And that's as far as I'm going to go with it. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's not, it's just this is the environment we're in. I don't feel like I should share all this personal information with you necessarily. But you're going to get as much as
you need it.
This is what you need right now. I don't know everything about you.
We don't hang out after work.
No, and
you don't need to.
We do a little bit, but even that is still in the environment of work. Right. You are still the person who was helping write my report to. Like, so I can share stuff, but I'm not gonna share everything.
But you didn't invite me to your house. We ain't that close.
Well, yeah.
See, I think it's different. Like you said, it's when it comes to people at work, because you have some coworkers that you connect with and some that you don't. And I think even with that type of situation, it has to be tested.
Right.
Yes. It has to be tried and tested.
Right.
So you give a little information, see what happens. You give a little more information, see what happens. Yep. You give a little more information, see what happens. And now you can formulate that based on these tests, you may be someone that I can trust. Mm-hmm. And so, but even with that, there's levels to trust. Exactly. Just like vulnerability. I think it's almost, if you have a little diagram.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, because vulnerability comes with trust, come with safety, come with how am I willing to risk, what I'm willing to risk with you. So all that plays a part in it, but it has to be tested. Like, I think you build up to a level of vulnerability with people. Like you said, with your friendship, you start out as one level, and then as you get spend more time together, as you start to go through some trials and share stuff, and you see that, okay, I can trust these people with this, and they're not going to judge me.
Right.
They're not going to shame me. You know, and so now I can share more of me. Because to me, it's hard to be authentically you with certain people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so because my personality.
Yeah, tell us your personality. Do share.
My personality, you know, I'm reserved until I get to know you.
Yep.
And then once I get to know you,
it's on.
You getting all of this. You getting all of me.
You like a freight train. You be like, I didn't know who that was. Oh, that was in there? Oh, okay.
We would get Cassandra at first. Right. Now we got Monique.
She has another name. We won't say it on the air.
Oh, right. That was the name.
Anyway.
That's absolutely right.
You
get that VIP access to the other name.
Yeah, right. So it's in a level.
Anyway.
Yeah, you get reserved, and then you get
you get Monique. So there's levels to it.
That's
so I told my coworker, I said, they was like, oh, first getting out, y'all didn't get all of Monique.
No.
Y'all, I was testing y'all a little bit, but now that I done hit,
come on,
right?
Now that I done hit 40, I'm like, bump what you say.
Everybody getting it.
Come on, everybody
getting it.
I'm finna tell you how I feel about you, and then however you take it, because it's gonna be from love.
It's always from a place of love.
It's a place of love. I don't mean no harm to nobody, but you got to get this truth. I got to share it with you.
Yeah.
That's just part of my personality. I'm a truth teller. So that's part of me. I got to give you this
Even
truth.
if it hurts.
Even if it hurts.
We're witnesses.
And it does.
And it does.
It stings.
Still hurts. It hurts today.
Mm-hmm. I can remember some situations.
Listen. I remember saying to you. But she just said,
yes, she did.
Okay. And so you know what we do now? We just look at each other and be like, that's what we do. That's the truth.
Hey.
Well, anyway.
But it's love, ain't it heart?
It's all love, right?
But I mean, even in a situation like this, the podcast, that's a whole nother set of vulnerability. Like we're sharing information.
Yes.
That we probably wouldn't have shared outside of this circle.
Never.
Because let this have been 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Nothing. I put this on who?
And where?
I was barely posting. Talking about put this on.
She was
posting once a year.
Accepting people's friendship.
People like, oh, I'm not friends with them.
Hey, I asked you 6 months ago.
People we know for years. Like, oh, I'm not friends with them.
Yeah, so posting, she was barely accepting your little friend request.
Come on. So you talking about posting what? So yeah.
What she got? I don't be on there like that.
I posted probably once, twice a year.
Maybe she liked your post. Did you see my post? Maybe she saw it.
Because and it's still something I swipe right past.
She does.
But
to this day.
But so it is this podcast is a level of vulnerability
for all three of us.
Right, because we're sharing our thoughts. Right. And it's hard to share your thoughts with people you may not meet in person.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that you don't know. Like it's hard to, that's why they say the number one fear is public speaking. Mm-hmm. Because you're getting in front of strangers, people that you don't know. Right. And you're sharing something with them. Right. And that's a level of vulnerability, and it can be scary. Mm-hmm. Vulnerability can be scary.
Yeah, it has a fear.
It can be scary, especially let's say if you're meeting you're in a new relationship.
Oh yeah.
Opening up to someone can be scary, and I think that may be a hindrance to a lot of relationships because they're too scared to open up to be vulnerable with each other.
Right, and by the time maybe they're ready to, that other person is like, "Well, I've been waiting for 6 months or a year, and you not doing it or 2 years." And like, it's just they gone, and so there is that risk factor with vulnerability. There is that. Should I, shouldn't I, how much can I, should? All that plays, there's definitely all that. But on the other side of it, with in the right space, there is a level of freedom, a level of acceptance, a level of grace, a level of all of that.
Yes.
We always used to say, we have grace for people. We give people some grace, and so we have grace for each other. And so that's where some of that vulnerability can come from too, from a place of, okay, I'm giving this person grace so I can be a little vulnerable with them and start testing that one. You have to. There's no way to have, I don't believe, with a significant other or your friend too, without having some level of vulnerability. You have to be able to be yourself, be able to see that other person too in their vulnerable state. That's what makes part of the relationship. That makes the deeper connection. That's what makes everything a little bit more raw, emotional, and I don't want to say better, but more cohesive.
Yeah. I think it does deepens your connection with someone,
right?
If you can be vulnerable with them, because then you're not being surface friends,
right?
And we all have surface friends.
We do. We do.
And with those surface friends, it's like, Lord mercy, surface friends, somewhat a waste of time.
Oh.
In that you don't gain anything.
No.
And you don't service any. It's
no purpose.
It's no purpose to the relationship because it's surface.
Yeah.
Like if I'm only complimenting, if you only share with me your good things and you want me to pat you on the back for your good things, and you only want to highlight your good things,
right?
But then you want me to share all my bad things,
right? Then we not.
No, I won't be vulnerable with you because you have shown me that you can be vulnerable with me, and I think that's a give or take. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. Definitely. You be vulnerable with me, I can be vulnerable with you.
That's where it deepens the connection and relationship. So so surface friends should be over there in the acquaintance or just people I know.
Yes.
Now Facebook has people you may know.
Right.
That's where we're gonna put some of those surface friends.
Right.
We're not even gonna call you surface friends anymore. You just people we may know.
Just people, right? Acquaintances.
We have associates.
We have a what Facebook say? You have a mutual connection, yeah. Or y'all went to the same school. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we are. And that's okay too, because I don't think we're supposed to have 50 friends we vulnerable with.
No.
Anyway, that's okay too. You have a few that you get, and you go on from there, and then those relationships deepen over time. Those relationships continue to grow, and those are who you eventually have travel compatibility.
Right.
Yeah.
Connect that
to season one.
Connect that season one and run it back.
Yeah. But I mean, so the key things here, like you said, is trust, safety.
Yeah.
There's a risk factor.
Yeah.
And then just understanding that you're not going to be vulnerable with everyone.
Right.
Sometimes you just need to take a chance.
Right.
Some people aren't vulnerable with anybody.
Right.
And sometimes you just need to take a chance and go up one level with somebody, see how it works out, and see if that you can build more trust and safety over time, and then that may take you to another level. And there may be people where you stop. You can only stop at level 2.
Right. And that's okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's okay.
I definitely got some level 2 people.
We got level 2 people.
You know what I'm saying?
So I have a question. Quick question.
Okay.
Do you think you should ask people that?
Ask people what?
So let's so do you think you should ask when you're either meet a new friend, you're developing a new friendship, or you're developing a new romantic relationship? Do you think you should ask, who are you most vulnerable with? To get a glimpse into
where they are.
Right.
How they working out of that.
Right.
So if they say no one.
Right.
Then
interesting. I think at some point you could probably ask a question.
And at this stage in the game, we always say this age.
At this question, you got asking questions.
I'm asking 21 questions.
Why you asking all these questions? Because I need to
know.
know.
I need to know.
I think it could be. It's just something people ask non-negotiables.
Yeah.
It could be in that same when you get to that point. They ask you, "What's your pet peeve? What's your non-negotiables? What's something somebody don't know about you? Hey, do you consider yourself someone to be vulnerable? Are you okay with being vulnerable with your significant other at some point? Not today,
right?
You know, but at some point, I don't think there's anything wrong. Actually,
y'all add that to your list of questions
because that's something you do need to know. And I don't know if you could get into that within the first, like without asking the question. I don't know if you get to that point in the first couple of months.
Right.
You know, at some point.
Yeah. So if you go ahead and ask them early, you could already know, especially if you're over 35 and you're dating with purpose and you're dating with the intent to marry. These are things that, you know, don't be afraid to ask certain things. And that's where I am now. So you come over here, just know I got questions now. And I didn't have questions in season 1, but I got questions in season 2. Life changes. We evolve.
You grow.
You grow.
You mature.
Maturity.
Mature. Always evolving.
Because I'm not. People think I'm super vulnerable, but I'm not. Like I'm really not. Like it's because
we know.
Right.
You're right. Some people.
Anywho, because of all the stuff we just said, and so even for me now to say that I'm wanting to do that, because we just talked about it before this, and I was like, oh yeah, I ain't gonna talk that much because I ain't that vulnerable. She was like, this one, oh, you gonna talk. I'm like, no.
Little encouragement.
Yeah. When it was little.
It was a way to be
Right. It was that over 40, that 40 that tone. But I was like, you think about it, like, yeah, like, opening up is scary for anybody, even people with big personalities. Like, it still doesn't change because you got a personality you like to, you know, you're a little outgoing,
a little more sanguine.
Yeah, a little more sanguine. No, that has nothing to do with it. It's still, sometimes you hide behind that.
I was gonna say
because, and I've hid years because that's more out there and more okay, and people can dig that more than actually getting down to the true. You know what I mean? I don't have to face that side.
Right. And if people aren't paying attention, they can see that and say, thinking you're vulnerable. But really, you're just putting out what you want to put out. But there's other stuff happening behind that. And if they don't crack that code to get past that point, they're just going to take that surface level stuff.
And that's how you can tell they're not real friends, because they don't crack that code. They don't ask. Or they don't see past that and be like, okay, come on. What's really going on?
Right, let's dive deeper into this.
What's really going on? And that's when, you know, when they call, and my other friend, shout out to Lisa, I'm going to keep giving you shout outs. That's my friend. When she asks questions, I know they've seen, watching, they've observed, and they ready to be like, okay, we need to have a moment. Right. What's up? And that's when you know, okay, we've passed that level. Like we're in that state because they can see it. And that's why people always say check on your strong friends, because they're not the most vulnerable at all.
But they want to be.
We want to be.
We definitely want to be.
Back to the point. Is it
safety? That's
it.
That's it. Because we want to be. We long to be vulnerable.
Yes.
With
Nobody
someone.
wants to bear this like that.
Right. But are we safe with you?
And 9 times out of 10, it's not. You're not.
Right.
So it's hard to let that wall down to be vulnerable, because one, people assume you can handle. I mean, I've had even my family be like, "Oh, that didn't really bother you, or you all right?" And be like, "Actually, it did," and they don't believe me.
Yeah. It bothers when you're one of the type, when you're considered the strong one. Stuff bothers you deeply.
Deep.
On a deep level, you just don't show it.
Right, but it bothers.
But it bothers you deeply to the point where you think about it so much.
Yep.
And you analyze it so much
by yourself.
Because you can't share it. You can't write because they don't so much. So, but yes, it does. Well, just because they strong, that means they're more emotional.
Right.
But they have to put on the strong guard to help everybody else, because
all of y'all operate in your weaknesses of your emotions, and all of us can't operate in that.
Not everybody in the crew can't be. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to keep the same.
Somebody got to be right.
But at the same time, we want to be in that space too.
We do,
and so, I mean, vulnerability has levels, and we have cracked that code. You did say that. I think eventually, as we continue to date and meet those, the one. That vulnerability will be there, because we already know now that's what we want. So we don't have to work on it to get to it. Right. We're sitting here ready. Vulnerability is like right here in our neck, and we're just ready for you. We're just waiting on you. We're choking on it, but we want you.
Oh.
So you saw that? Okay.
Oh.
But it is. We here. We ready to be vulnerable. But I think it's just I'm gonna keep saying it. We're gonna keep saying it. The space, having a space, taking the risk, but knowing it's safe. To be vulnerable.
Safe.
So, can you love me naked? Yes. If there's space, if you provide the space,
the safe space. Yes. So, comment.
Yes. Tell us.
Can you be vulnerable? Who are you vulnerable with?
Ooh.
So, like, share, comment,
rate,
subscribe,
and we thank you so much for tuning in. Chat with y'all later.